Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi man walah. Insha'Allah, tonight we will recite juz number 13, in which we will complete Surah Yusuf, as well as recite Surah Ar-Ra'd, titled the Thunder, and Surah Ibrahim, after the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, named after the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. When we talk about Surah Yusuf finishing, one thing that I thought that was very interesting that we discussed last night about Yusuf alayhi salam's father, Yaqub alayhi salam, talking with his son and having that conversation, is that when he's imparting to his son the life lessons and the wisdoms that he's teaching his son, he ends it with Inna Rabbaka Alimun Hakim, that your Rabb, your Lord, is Alim and he's Hakim, meaning he's Alim, he's all knowledgeable. There isn't anything that's not in Allah's knowledge. But because knowledge in and of itself is incomplete without hikmah, without wisdom, and knowing how and when things are supposed to happen, he is Hakim as well. And what's interesting is, as we'll recite Surah Yusuf tonight, when Yusuf alayhi salam's father, Yaqub alayhi salam, reaches the peak of his despair, and he's calling out, وَتَوَلَّى عَنْهُمْ وَقَالَ يَا أَسَفَا عَلَى يُوسُفَ وَابْيَضَّتْ عَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْحُزْنِ فَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. In that particular passage, when he's calling out, and Allah Azza wa Jal talks about how he lost his eyesight from crying, from his grief and his huzn, the way that he addresses the names of Allah that he uses is also Al-Alim Al-Hakim. When he's telling his sons to search for Yusuf alayhi salam, he uses Al-Alim Al-Hakim. And then Yusuf alayhi salam, at the very end, when everything is settled and he's on the throne and his parents have come, he also ends his statement by Alimun Hakim, that he is Alim and he is Hakim. So it's as if things come full circle. That lesson at some few decades ago that his father taught him, today when he speaks to his father after everything has been set, he uses the same exact words, the same exact attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal to reinforce that lesson that his father had taught him. And the beauty about when he says this, and what we would call a victory speech or a speech of gratitude, when you finally accomplish something, وَرَفَعَ أَبَوَيْهِ عَلَى الْعَرْشِ وَخَرُّوا لَهُ سُجَّدًا, that his parents come and then he elevates his parents onto the throne and they all fall in prostration. And the prostration of that time, the sajda, it was allowed for respect. It wasn't sajda of a worship. That was in their particular sharia, but for us it was outlawed. And he said, Ya abati hadha ta'weelu ru'yaya min qabl. Instead of the father consoling the son, Yusuf alayhi salam learnt those lessons so well from his father, he's now consoling his father. Oh my father, don't worry, maybe you're grieved about what's happened to me all these years. I've been through slavery, I've been imprisoned, I was sold, picked up from a well, laid to die by my brothers. Don't worry about me. What's important is my dreams come true. My dreams come true. هذا تأويل رؤيا. This is that dream that you told me من قبل, some time ago. قد جعلها ربي حقا. That dream, my Lord, my Rabb has made it come true. وقد أحسن بي إذ أخرجني من السجن. And he did a great favor to me when he took me out of the prison. And notice the first part of the story is gone. He doesn't even want to mention what happened at the well and his brothers trying to kill him and that entire saga that happened. He's not going to mention any of that. He starts it from the prison so his brothers don't feel bad. وَقَدْ أَحْسَنَ بِي إِذْ أَخْرَجَنِي مِنَ السِّجْنِ وَجَاءَ بِكُم مِنَ الْبَدْوِ مِن بَعْدِ أَن نَزَغَ الشَّيْطَانُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ إِخْوَتِي. But he wants to recognize it so it's not left. He says there was something that shaitan brought between us, between me and my brothers. Something that happened there. It's insignificant, it doesn't matter, it's gone. إِنَّ رَبِّي لَطِيفٌ لِمَا يَشَاءُ إِنَّهُ هُوَ الْعَلِيمُ الْحَكِيمُ. Indeed, my Rabb is latif, he is very subtle in how he plans for things to come around. And so it's so beautiful because Yusuf alayhi salam here, if it was any of us, we do one of two things. And mostly that's what people do after a trial. Either you discuss about how hard it was, and man, it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. I can't believe I made it out. I never expected something like this. You don't even know what I went through. We're so obsessed with saying that, or we're looking to the future. This is what I want to do. But Yusuf alayhi salam is looking back and he's realizing now that every test that it seemed, every difficulty that it seemed that there's some relief coming right after it. Right? His father says, you're going to become a prophet. Allah is going to select you. كَذَلِكَ يَجْتَبِيكَ رَبُّكَ. Your Lord is going to select you. It's nice. There's supposed to be a good result to this. His brothers throw him in the well. Okay, there's people passing by, they pick him up. Okay, that's good. Finally someone's come, they know I'm not dead. They sell him into slavery. Okay, I'm sold into slavery. At least I get to go to the minister's house, the Aziz. At least it's a good house, he'll take care of me. His own wife plots against him. And he ends up in prison. Okay, he's in prison. He meets two people and he tells them, hey, on your way out, don't forget me, talk about me. They forget about him. But then they need him and he's called right at the right moment when he's needed in front of the king. And from then onwards, everything lines up perfectly. So it seems like there's some relief coming and then there's a turn again. And instead of talking about how difficult each stage was, he makes it all the easiest thing, saying, Inna Rabbi latifun lima yasha. My Lord knew what he was doing. He does away, he gives a complete forgiveness to his brothers. He doesn't want to mention those events. What's gone is gone. He's willing to move on. And we learn from this two lessons. One, Yusuf alayhi salam's true willingness to forgive. We like to forgive and forget, we say, but then after some time we like to remind the person, remember, I forgave you when that happened. I forgave him when that happened. Because we're still holding on to it. But Yusuf alayhi salam, when he could have said it, he leaves it out completely. And the second thing is that even after everything that he's gone through, if anyone can say they've had a tough life, they've gone to prison, they've been sold into slavery, they've been slandered, they've gone through an attempted murder against them. Literally everything you can think of that can go wrong in a person's life, it happens. But Yusuf alayhi salam is still holding on content with Allah Azza wa Jal. And so the second lesson is for us to be content and to think about all the favors that Allah Azza wa Jal has done. And at the end of each trial, the relief that is there that we often forget. We ask that Allah Azza wa Jal make us from those that draw lessons from His beloved prophets alayhimus salatu wassalam. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.